Alligator In Alignment here. I've got a little short thing I'm going to do here. I want to have a shout out to all of those who watched my last podcast with Myron Ort. The gentleman was just wonderful. It's volume 50. If you want to find out who I'm talking about, please go watch Alligator In Alignment volume 50. Got a lot of positive comments about him, and we're looking forward to bringing him back. And we're also going to go back to Lynette Shaw, the mother of legalized marijuana, because she has so many stories to tell, and she's working on her book now. She's got a big book deal, and as soon as she finishes the book, she's going to go on tour around the country, and then the following year, it's a tour around the world. Whatever the book company that she got, she just said it's a large company, and that's enough for me. She's going to get her story out. But right now, I'm just going to announce a new segment to my show that I'm going to be doing every month. I'm going to feature musicians, mostly musicians who have passed, who I admire or were a part of my life or impacted my life in some way. People like my friend Barry Cowsill from the Cowsills, and guitar Curtis Anderson, Chester D, and I just looked at my friend Haskell Sadler. He went by the name of Cool Papa. You can check him out on the YouTube also. But the first, I'm going to talk today about a friend of mine that we lost, I don't know how many years ago, 10 years ago maybe. His name was John Paul. John Paul was from East Palo Alto, I think, in California. He's a bass player. And when I first got to Monterey, well, for 20 or 30 years I did this anyway. I didn't really have a real band. Since the Bayou Boogie Band broke up with Joey Reyes and us. Oh no, it was the Velvet Voodoo. Then the Bayou Boogie Band was always whoever was playing with me. I would, drums would change, and this one would change, and that one would change. I had certain people with me for long periods of time. Gil Rubio, who runs Red Beans and Rice. In fact, John Paul was playing with him before he came permanently with me. But anyway, John Paul, a Monterey staple. A lot of people miss him, and it was so tragic of him to leave at such a young age like he did. But the music business sometimes leads you down avenues that you shouldn't go, and he had been down these avenues a couple of times, had cleaned up, and unfortunately fell off. But here's what I'm going to do. We're going to play a little clip of John Paul playing with me at the Brownsville Blues Festival in 2007, I think it is. So let's just take a look at this little clip here. Take just a brief second here. If you want to help support me, please hit the like button, hit the subscription button, and do a favor, share this with your friends from you, okay? Sort of help to get the word out. This will help me greatly. Thank you so much. Okay, so we've watched the clip. Now I've got a few more of these to put on while I'm talking about John Paul. But I can say this about John Paul. John Paul was just a wonderful guy. Everybody loved him. He, I met him through Gil Rubio. Gil Rubio introduced me to him. He was playing with his operation, I think it was. And Gil finally decided to get a different bass player, and John Paul decided he was going to stay in my band. Now, he played with me for many years. In fact, he was probably the only real staple there after a while, besides, of course, for my friend Floyd Walker. Floyd Walker was the keyboard. I should do a show about him, too, at some point. I forgot about Floyd. But John Paul and his family, I'm a guy who is sort of a child magnet. Okay, children just always are attracted to Alligator. And one of the things that John Paul used to tell me, his little daughter Tricia, she was such a sweetheart. She's grown into just a wonderful lady. Whenever we would go over, after I met her, whenever we would play, John Paul would always go, Tricia wants to know, when am I bringing Alligator back? She always wants to know that. And whenever I would go to his house, him and his wife had split up at that time, and she was living with her mom. And whenever we would go there, she would see me and she would run past her dad and run over and give me a hug. And John Paul used to, that just tickled him. He acted like he was upset about it, but he was really, that just tickled him to death. He says, I used to be my daughter's favorite, and now we come up together and I'm chopped liver. So I'm doing this little thing because I want Tricia to have this film that we just saw clips of. It's actually about an hour long. I think it's a whole set at the Brownsville Blues Festival in 2007. But anyway, John Paul was just, it's hard to say anymore. He ran a painting company, John Paul Painting, very, very popular throughout the Monterey, Carmel, Salinas area. And he played music on this side, and I was fortunate enough that he played with me. He became so close to my son. My son loved him also, Donnie. When Donnie was little, he just loved John Paul. And I can't say enough about him. He was not only a good musician, but he was friends with a lot of the Grateful Dead people. He was very much into the Grateful Dead, and he was friends with all of those guys, especially Pigpen. John Paul, I can't say, it's hard to describe him. He was just a absolutely wonderful, he was a good musician, he was a good bass player. He was weak in certain styles of music, but most bass players are like that, and I do so many different styles of music that there were some that he was weak in. But he played with me and was just wonderful for many, many years. And then he slid off the sober thing that he and I were both doing. I had given up hard drugs, and I didn't even drink alcohol there for many, many years. But then he slipped back and unfortunately left us way too early. Let's play another clip of him playing with me. Put the clip on. Okay, so that was clip number 2. I got a couple of more for you to watch. John Paul was well loved and respected by so many people in the area, and it was just a tragedy to lose him at such a young age. I forget how old he was, but he was young. I'm an old guy, so to me everybody's young. I remember when God made water, but it's just hard to even now after all of these years, I get angry with him because whenever I look at his picture or something, I always say, why did you throw your life away like that? I'm angry with him for going back on the hard drugs. He died of an overdose, like so many of the people in our profession does. He had everything going for him. His business was going very well. He was playing with me all over the place. We were just running from one place to another one. And his demeanor was just, I mean, he was in my corner 100%. I could always count on John Paul. I could always count on him for anything that I needed. He was always there. And he, for a long time, I wrote with him to and from jobs. And he was just a very solid human being. And I just wanted to do this for his daughter, for his niece, Rachel, who was another darling of mine. Rachel said when her mom was having her, she was supposed to come close around John Paul's birthday. And he kept calling his mom and telling her, you got to hurry up with this delivery, because I want Rachel and I to have the same birthday. Well, they were a day apart. But this is the reason I'm doing this feature on him, because I want his daughter to have this. I'm sure she doesn't have pictures of him actually playing. And I want Rachel to have it, and so many of his other friends, Gil Rubio, all of us who cared about him. I'm going to give them this, the full show that we did. So let's have another clip.
Cajun, just sweet on Cajun. Hey, it's a sweet on Cajun. Hey, Cajun.
Okay, we've got one more clip to play. I'm going to wrap this up because this was just to let people know that I'm going to be doing this on my shows monthly. I'm going to have a couple of musicians that I'm going to feature. Not as long as I'm doing this, but just a nod out to them and talk about them and their music. Unfortunately, I can't play a lot of my friends' music on my show because I get in trouble with YouTube for playing their music. But hopefully with Barry Cowsill, I can get permission from whoever's handling his affairs to play his music, because I really want to play his music on my show. I don't want to do his songs myself because nobody could do Barry Cowsill like Barry. So anyway.
So kick back, take it slow. Let me play my Zydeco. Talk to me, accordion.
Okay, we got the last clip coming up. I wish I could somehow get some recordings with John Paul on it, but like I say, I can't play him on my show anyway because somebody might have a problem with that. But listen, John Paul is someone who we miss you, my friend, and we miss you. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up. We're going to do one more clip, and what can I say? One more clip of John Paul playing with Alligator.
I've got some chicken. I've got some hoes. I've got a hound dog that barks in the yard. Hey, 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 hey. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm a country boy.
Okay. So here we go now with one more clip. I guess, yes, one more clip. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to have to close this out. This is Alligator In Alignment. We have a feature on John Paul from out of East Palo Alto, California. He was a member of Alligator and Bayou Boogie for some years. We miss him. That's all I can say is that we miss John Paul. Stick around. I've got another podcast coming up in just a few days, and I'm going to feature a musician's birthday then also. It'll be just a little short shout out. I'm not going to do long ones like this. Okay, but anyway, here's Alligator In Alignment, and catch volume 50 with Myron Ort. I'll tell you, it's very interesting. You'll love it. This is Alligator In Alignment. In just a few days, I'm bringing a full show to you. So until then, happy trails. Take care of each other. You hear me? And vote, register, vote. Don't make me have to come and get you.